Good morning. It's the 5th of October. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis, and we've got your HCC news and information for the next half hour or so. Some special guests on the way. Glad to have you with us on this Tuesday morning. If you haven't been outside, it's beautiful out there. Incredible weather, like picture perfect. We've got Raquel joining us as my co-host this morning. Have you been outside, Raquel?
No, I have not been outside, but I can look to my left and see how beautiful it is. And I just can't wait to get outside because I love beautiful days.
It was like in the low 60s this morning. The humidity was very low. That cold front came through, and I actually was out running and I saw some trees where the leaves were changing colors. You don't see that much in Houston. It just goes from like green to the tree leaves die. Yes. These were actually changing colors. I actually stopped and took a picture. It was very nice. So make sure you get out. By the way, some crazy things happened yesterday. I'm sure you were very aware. I've got, a couple of my friends who are overseas, and I communicate with them mainly through Facebook Messenger. So I went to send some messages. Things weren't working. I went to my Facebook page. That wouldn't update. So I figured I'll get a hold of them on Instagram. That ain't working either. So I'm thinking it's my computer. So I send a message to the social media team saying, hey, there's some issues with Facebook and Instagram. They're thinking it's their computer. Of course, the whole world pretty much shut down because Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram were offline for most of the day. So it was a crazy day, but everything seems to be in the right direction today.
Yes, I was experiencing the same problem. And I was like, what is going on? You know how like us millennials can't go without being on social media, but glad to know that it's back up and running. And with it be back up and running, please follow us on all of our social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn by simply typing in Houston Community College District. And don't forget that we're back on the HCCTV channel at noon and 5, Monday through Friday. So check your local listings to be up to date with our Up to the Minutes.
Yeah, luckily we were able to do Up to the Minute live yesterday morning. You don't know what would have happened if it was out in the morning. That's just the way things go. But hey, we're back online today. And Raquel, we're going to check in with you later on in the show and talk about some HCC news and announcements. We've got some special guests today. Of course, we've got it's Tasty Tuesday. We're going to get to that in a minute. But we've got Dr. Melinda Mejia. She is the program coordinator with Humanities and also Mexican American Latino Studies. Good morning to you, Dr. Mejia. How are you?
Good morning, Todd. It's so nice to be here. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Well, we're looking forward to talking with you and hearing more about the studies program and also talking about Hispanic Heritage Month. All that and more coming up. So we'll ask you to stand by for about 10 minutes. We'll check in with you in a little while. All right, we're going to kick things off with our Tasty Tuesday guest. And our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month continues with a Venezuelan bakery with an Italian name. Joel Eliaz is here to tell us more about Tuttopane Venezuelan bakery. Tell us a bit about it, Joel. How are you?
Very good, Todd. Thank you for having us. Thank you for inviting us. And I agree with you. This is a lovely morning. The weather is absolutely gorgeous. I would love to be out there doing the show because the weather is fantastic.
It is incredible out there. Let me ask you this. Tell me about the name of your bakery and how it came about.
It's a history of love. It's a history of family love. What happens is that the previous owner, she's half Venezuelan, half Italian. By the time she wanted to establish her place here in the U.S., she wanted to give some kind of homage to her forefathers, and she wanted to establish an Italian place. Unfortunately, she didn't do quite well her demographics. And around here, there's not a lot of Italian people, but there were a lot of Venezuelans. So she, with time, moved more towers and towers the Venezuelan side of the menu and kept a little bit of Italian items for people to enjoy, but she kept the name because she loved the Italian roots. So when we bought it, we stepped in and we decided, okay, let's keep it like that because everybody now knows that Tuttopane is the Venezuelan place with the Italian name.
And you guys, your slogan is the Venezuelan Gastronomic Embassy in Houston. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, we feel we are some kind of ambassadors. We're here to display our culture, our way of being, the way the things are in the real Venezuela that we miss a lot, and not the Venezuela that unfortunately we have right now. So we're here to display the real image of the beautiful country that we once were, and and show people through our food how lovely Venezuela can be.
What is your most popular dish or your staple plate that you guys have there?
Well, we have a staple plate called Pabellón Criollo. Pabellón Criollo is a combination of symbolisms that is really amazing. It combines white rice, black beans, shredded beef, sweet plantains in a plate, where plantains somehow became the rim of a plate. And what it shows is that if you put together the white of the rice, the black of the beans, and the brown of the shredded beef, you somehow symbolize the Europeans, the African Americans, and the
Here we go. I think we lost you for a second there. Joel. Go ahead and explain the colors again, because your video froze.
The white rice, the black beans, and the shredded beef. It's white for the Europeans that once came to Venezuela and found it. The black for the African Americans that were brought in there, and then the brown for the native Venezuelans. And the plantains somehow become the containing sweetness that blend them all together and create something fantastic by working as a team instead of everyone separate. That's the whole idea of the Pabellón Criollo. And our most popular plate is the empanadas, and today we're going to be making some Pabellón empanadas.
Yeah, tell us. Let's go ahead and take a look at what you're going to be making, because you've got some ingredients you can put together and show us a finished product as well. So,
sure thing. What we have here, we have the corn flour, cornmeal. Okay, we have water, oil, salt, and sugar, and we're going to need a corn-based dough. And with that dough, we're going to be making the empanadas with black beans, shredded beef.
Oh, there you go.
Cheese, and plantains. So we're not using the rice because the corn substitutes the rice in the empanada. And what we're going to be doing is putting it all together in a mixture that we already have pre-made in here.
Right.
And we're going to be making the empanada, and then we're going to show you how the end product ends up being.
Yeah, show us how you put that together, because you with empanadas you can have those either, I imagine, savory or sweet. Is it both those ways, or do you have both? Do you offer both?
Well, we like to combine sweet and savory together in Venezuela, and most of the time what we do add sweet plantains to give that sweet flavor into it. And Venezuelan empanadas, unlike empanadas in other places in South America, are mainly made out of corn. We don't make white flour empanadas. Even though we have them, it's not a typical Venezuelan style empanada.
Right. Is that what separates Venezuelan style from like, I guess, the empanadas you get from Mexico? Because the ones here seemed like they weren't made with cornmeal.
Yes. The ones that we make here are made only, the dough, it's only corn flour or corn meal. B, the filling, it's either the combination of two flavors, but mostly one flavor that is absolutely dominant. Like we have the shredded beef, we have the shredded chicken, or we combine them with cheese or sweet plantains. But for instance, in Colombia, they make them tiny, and every single one of them has got mashed potatoes inside of the empanada. We don't do that at all. We only do either one flavor or two or three combined, but no potato as a binder, as a staple.
How large are your empanadas?
Just 1 minute.
Figured we get to see one there. There you go.
Here we are. Okay,
oh, so they're pretty good size.
When you come here, they're big. Two of these guys are a full meal.
I was going to say,
Okay.
I'm about a good for 2 of those for a meal, but I imagine you could take a bunch home, warm them up later. Do you suggest when people order them, do they order them by the 2s? Do they order them by the dozens? How are they ordered? And then do you serve them with a meal as well?
That's a great question, because we have them either uncooked or par fried. And people take them most of the time by half a dozen or a full dozen. And what they do, they keep them frozen at home, and then they use their air fryers and they finish the cooking in there. Okay, that's one thing. We advise our customers to take them par fried, because since it's corn dough and it's easy to break, if you're not going right away back home, we don't think it's a good idea to keep them in your car or something in the regular Houston weather.
What are some of the items? What are some of the other items they may find on your menu that are characteristic of Venezuela, or some of them you may share with Mexican cuisine as well?
Sure. Well, we have the arepas. The arepas are the typical Venezuelan corn savory bread or cake that you cook on the griddle, and then you split open and you put inside just about anything. An arepa, it's for us in Venezuela something that comes even before a regular bread. I mean, my daughter, I'm a baker by trade, and my own daughter, I'll ask her, what do you want me to make to you today to eat? 9 out of 10 times when she was 6 or 7, she'll say, I want an arepa. And I can make her any bread she would like, but she'd rather have an arepa. That's how deep in our roots it is.
It sounds like you guys specialize in or offering what we would call in the States comfort food.
Totally. What we want to bring the people that go through our door, we want to bring them an experience that you make like a quantum travel. You go to Venezuela without having to go through the airport, the customs, and all the complications that come making a flight take, and you will enjoy the flavors, the aromas, the textures, the languages we speak in here, the music that you'll hear in our music system. Everything, it takes you to Venezuela. So what we're giving you, and that's why we become ambassadors, because we're bringing the country to you without having to leave Houston.
Joel Eliaz, he's the co-owner and chef of Tuttopane, Venezuelan Bakery Cafe. Where are you guys located, and what are your hours? We're
located at 13525 Westheimer Road, suite number 2. This is nearby the Energy Corridor area.
Yeah,
we're right between Highway 6 and Eldridge, and our hours are Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 till 5, Sundays from 9 to 2.
Joel, we appreciate you being on the show and bringing us some stuff from Venezuela with an Italian twist. We appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you soon. Get out there when you get a chance. We'll have some information in our social media post for the restaurant. Thanks for being here, Joel.
Thank you for having us. My pleasure, Todd.
Thank you. All right, we are going to move on to Dr. Melinda Mejia. She is here with HCC. She's the program coordinator of our Humanities department, and she focuses on Mexican-American Latino studies. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, Melinda?
Thank you, Todd. I am doing great today. Also getting excited about all this talk about the weather. I haven't gone outside yet, so I can't wait to do that.
Well, we've had 2 treats. We talked about the weather, and we had some great food you got a chance to see as well.
Oh my God, yummy food indeed. I was very interested in the different combinations and the question about the empanadas. Indeed, there's the difference between the empanadas, right? The salty from the Venezuelan and similar countries, and then the sweet from the Mexican.
Yeah. Because I think empanada, I think of like the Empanada House. I believe there's one on the southwest part of town, and they have both savory and sweet. You get their pick. It's kind of like similar to kolaches in a way, but totally different, but similar to. But it sounds like theirs are much more specific. I wanted to ask you, you're here in celebration, of course, of Hispanic Heritage Month, but what does this month mean to you personally?
Todd, yes, good question. So for me, it's a month to be proud of my heritage and to focus on reconnecting with those roots that some of us may have gotten a little bit more distant from along the way, or some of us who aren't always, immersed in that experience, we have the time to focus and think about that. Of course, we're Hispanics year round, and we love our culture and our traditions year round, but I love that we have this special month to highlight that, not just for Hispanics and our own, in our own communities, but for others to see our contributions, what we've brought, and to celebrate with us.
You also are big into digital storytelling, I understand. How do you incorporate your background, your culture in telling a story digitally?
Right. So I took a workshop with HCC a few years ago, and it was really amazing to be able to bring all those things together, the pictures, the voice, that whole production that would seem quite involved was packaged in a really nice workshop, and we could do it. People who didn't have the tech savvy, strategies or techniques, we could still do it. So for me, the first story I told, which was called Ni Aquí Ni Allá, Neither Here Nor There, precisely explored this question of belonging. And it was about feeling out of place in the United States, feeling like I didn't quite belong, but also having a sort of sense that I didn't quite belong in Mexico either. If I go out to Mexico, my peers, my family, they'll pick me out. They'll know I'm not quite from Mexico. And if I'm the United States, they know, there's something about. So this sort of not belonging, or neither here nor there, was the question I was exploring. And it was especially intense because it was during middle school that I had this trip. So I focused on that story about going to visit my family in Oaxaca, Mexico, and the sort of way in which finally, when I get there, I feel embraced in a way that I didn't feel before. And it really informs my identity and my sort of life experience after that. And I think digital storytelling is a great vehicle to sort of tap into these personal stories that highlight not only our life experience, but often those life experiences are very specifically cultural experiences.
Right.
And they can highlight these things about ourselves that, that have to do with our traditions, with our language, with our foods. And so definitely something that I've worked with some students in my humanities classes to do.
Let's talk about language used to describe someone's background. There's Hispanic, but it's involved to Latinx. Maybe you can talk about the evolution in the terms that are used and really why they're there.
Yes, definitely. So this is something that we cover in our American Minority Studies course and our Mexican American Studies course. It's sort of the introduction to the courses. What about these labels? What do we do with them? Where do they come from? And I know that we're in a place in society where we want to be like, well, labels are so restricting. We don't need them. And indeed, that generally is the ideal. It would be we could function in a more free way, but labels are there. And so I think it's important to know where they come from and who has the right to choose what we're called, right? And so, for example, Hispanic and Latino or Latinx, they're umbrella terms that include a lot of the different cultures and countries that are in the Latin American area. But a Pew Research poll recently concluded that most people in the United States would prefer to designate themselves by their nationality. So Mexican American, Cuban American,
right,
Puerto Rican American, Colombian American. So there's the term Hispanic, in fact, is actually kind of popularized by the U.S. Census. So it's something that comes from the outside of the community. It doesn't mean we can't use it, but we want to be informed. What are we saying when we're using these terms? And then the Latinx, of course, the addition of that X is to be more inclusive. It's to, as we're learning, as we grow, as we evolve in terms of how we think of identity, then this identity label includes people who are not gender binary or do not conform to the gender binary, and therefore, again, more inclusive. And then Afro-Latino, we have this term which actually been around a little bit longer, but we don't highlight as much because, again, with our history of racism in society, we've sort of erased the African roots in our Latino communities. And so this is a term that is there to highlight this African roots in our community.
It makes sense because if you go up north or you go down south, you would ask somebody, are you an American? Well, yeah, but really I'm a New Yorker if they're from New York. Are you an American? Well, yeah, but I live in Houston. I'm a Texan, you know. We like to identify ourselves from where we are in our background, where we grew up, where our family is. So that makes complete sense.
Absolutely. I mean, there's just, you know, language is not ever going to capture us entirely, but we want to be as specific as possible, right? And so we connect to the Mexican food is different, even within the regions of Mexico, right?
Yeah, right.
Mexican food is different than Colombian food, and we just saw the Venezuelan food and so on and so forth. And so those umbrella terms, I think they can be good in terms of waging sort of political power and voice, but we also want to make sure that we understand that there's diversity even within those umbrella terms.
Absolutely. I'm reading here, there's some Tejano in your background. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that. Are you into the music? Do you play? Do you teach?
I teach some music in my courses, definitely. Although the music I'm teaching more is our stories and corridos, so not stuff that I actually performed that have to do with the braceros when they came to the United States. But in terms of my own experience with the music, I was in a Tejano band from age 14 to age 19. I had my share of Selena covers that I performed. It was absolutely fantastic and fun. Sometimes I like to go escape and do some karaoke now that I don't have a band. So, and I've continued to play the guitar on my own, to write music both in Spanish and English, but the Tejano performances were just really amazing. You know, we did also, it was a family band. So my brother sang as well, and he played the bajo sexto, which is a 12-string guitar as opposed to a regular 6-string guitar. Is that what it is, right? And I played the bass guitar, and he would do Intocable, what was there, Los Tigres del Norte. We did a little mix of norteño Mexican music and Tejano music. So it was really a fantastic experience in my life.
One thing that's always impressed me with Tejano music, especially when they're using acoustic guitars, is they use an acoustic bass. And that might be one of the only styles of music I've seen where people perform using an acoustic hollow body bass guitar. You don't see that in most traditional music.
Oh my God, no. And that's beautiful. It has an entirely different sound. And so that type of setup, the acoustic setup, we would actually do for serenading. We also did serenading. So when we performed as a band in a big hall, it was all electric. But when we went serenading on Mother's Day or birthdays, you know, we would go from, 12 at night to 6 in the morning, and we had the acoustic setup outside the mother's window. And it was also quite an experience.
We're running short on time, but I want to ask you about the certificate in Mexican American Studies and the program that you offer. And I imagine you're enrolling or getting ready to enroll for the spring classes as well.
Yes, absolutely. So just really quickly, that's 12 hours of a focus on Mexican American Studies. And these are classes. So you email me, or you can email Brandon Williams, who is the chair of the Humanities Department, and we will give you all the information you need. It's 12 hours of focus studies in classes that will transfer and that will cover your core curriculum requirements. So we have Mexican American literature, Mexican American studies, and we have Mexican American art, fine art appreciation, among other courses. So definitely something to check out if you're interested in the culture, or if you yourself are Mexican American or Latinx of any kind and want to connect back with your roots and get some history.
Well, Dr. Mejia, we appreciate you being on the show and letting folks know about the program and the information you provided, and certainly interested in the Tejano music. That's something we got to talk more about in the future. Maybe you can dig up, do you have an old video of you playing or something?
I know my dad has plenty.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, we got to get.
We'll have to get in touch with him, and we'll do something, Todd.
All right. Thanks for being here. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to have some information on the Mexican American Studies program in the social media post for the show. We're enrolling for next semester very shortly, so if you're thinking about it, we'll have some information where you can get more information on their program. Okay, we're going to move on to our HCC News and Announcements. Raquel is joining us this morning. Raquel, what's going on out there in Stafford this week? You guys got a lot happening?
Yes, honestly, actually tonight we are having our National Night Out, which is something that the city of Stafford always loves. And since, things have changed since COVID, like the city is excited to get back on the block cooking, and National Night Out is an initiative to help bring down crime within the neighborhood by letting everybody get acquainted with their neighbors. And so the police department will be out, EMS will be out, the fire department will be out. So I'm excited about that tonight.
Yeah, that's always a big deal around the country, and it's happening all across the country today. So make sure you get out, and learn more about your neighbors, learn more about the police departments in your area. Just get a chance to learn more about safety, because you know what? It's a scary time here in the Houston area. Crime is on the rise, and this is one way we can get out as a community and get to know our neighbors and our police officers and help fight the crime ourselves. Okay, Life Hacking 101, get LinkedIn. You want to know how to build an audience and get a job through LinkedIn, build your network? Well, the session is an opportunity to learn some tips and tricks to network your way to the top of LinkedIn. It's noon today, October 5th, hosted by Student Life. We'll have some information on that Life Hacking 101 event in our social media post. And if you're looking for a job, well, the Careers Fair is coming up.
Yes, and I'm excited because I had a chance to speak with Mr. Mark Kane. And so here we are. Another HCC Career Fair is literally happening tomorrow. Have your resume ready and also be camera ready for yourself because employers will be there to hire. Keyword, to hire, not just to look around, but to hire. If you need a hire, schedule an appointment with HCC Career Services beforehand. The Career Fair is happening from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow, and the link for that will be provided below. And register today, and we will also have the link in our post, so don't forget this to register.
If you have problems with math and aren't a math expert like myself, that's why I have a BA in communications and RTV, because I wasn't good at math. Just want to get that out there. But we have a Recipe for Success workshop, how to win at math and overcome math anxiety. Yeah, it's a thing. 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thursday, October 7th. We'll have some links to register for that free virtual presentation. Once again, it's Thursday, October 7th. We'll have links on that in our social media post. And if you're looking to take some classes at HCC and transfer, well, you can do so. We've got a career fair for you as well.
Yes, HCC Transfer Fairs are back on campus, allowing students to interact directly with representatives from several of our university partners at their home campus. Several HCC campus locations will provide opportunities to start thinking about the future and their educational careers. And it is happening now through Thursday, October 14th. And the link for that is, hccs.edu/TransferFair.
Okay, we're running out of time. So I want to remind you that you can register today for shortened fall semesters. That's right. We have 4-week and 8-week course sessions available coming up starting October 18th. You got to register today. Of course, there's online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid, a little bit of online and in-person, and in-person classes. Those are happening. They started again yesterday, so they're now live on campuses. And we also have a hybrid lab where you can take some online and in person. Register today. Go to hccs.edu/now. Tomorrow on the show, Dr. Nathan Smith will talk about our textbook savings programs. And also it's gaming day, and we have a gaming expert.
Yes, instructor Brian Balls will discuss how HCC's new anime club and the fun, exciting plans. So you do not want to miss tomorrow's episode at all.
That's right. We'll be here tomorrow. Raquel, good to see you always. We'll see you again next week.
Nice seeing you too, and I will see you all.
All right, get outside, enjoy the day. It's beautiful out there. I'm Todd Duplantis. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Up to the Minute.